It's the Wednesday Night Showdown presented by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Tonight, the four-game series continues with Game 3 as the Tampa Bay Rays play host to the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. Dwayne Stats will hear from Todd Callis in just a moment. Well, after a three-city road trip, the Rays looking forward to getting home. The last two nights, studies of frustration for the Rays. They made 10 calls to the bullpen. Tonight, they're hoping that the young left-hander Matt Moore will pitch deep into this game, and they'll find the winning side of the ledger.
Send the guy that's undefeated out to the mound, and that's what the Rays are going to do. Matt Moore has been outstanding this season. Now, he's coming off of an outing his last time out against the Colorado Rockies. You know, probably wish he had it back. It was the one time he walked four guys, most walks he's had since his second start of the season. So I think you're going to see a motivated Matt Moore to get back out there, and coming back home is where it's been at for Matt. 2-0 record, the .64 in run average. He's worked 14 innings here at Tropicana Field, giving up 4 hits, 1 earned run, while striking out 17. So you can expect him, much like Roberto Hernandez last night, to come out and really attack this lineup. And I really think that the curveball and the changeup are going to play a key role for Matt.
And the Coventry Healthcare of Florida pitching matchup, Ricky Romero twice has been the opening day starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. He ran into big trouble last year. Now back from a stint in the minor leagues, he'll be doing the pitching for the Blue Jays, and Matt Moore looking for win number 6 on the hill for the Rays. Rays and the Blue Jays coming up, and when we return, we'll have much more on Matt from Todd.
Start of the year, the Rays are 6-0 when he starts. When he doesn't start, the Rays are 8-18. How about the season Matt Moore, the left-hander out of New Mexico, is having so far in 2013? When you look at his numbers stacked up with the rest of the AL in his first half dozen starts, these are phenomenal numbers. We're talking about tied for second in wins with 5, and the Rays won that other game where he had a no decision. ERA, top 6. Opponents' batting average against 156. And you see the strikeouts per 9 inning, almost 10. When we caught up with Matt, who has won 5 of his 6 starts after a loss, or at least the Rays have, he says it's not about being a stopper, but the Rays need to put together something soon.
We're trying not to make it seem like we have to start winning games right now, and there's got to be this huge win streak going. But we do definitely, feel that we can play much better than we have been, and a couple games have got away from us here now. And but I don't know if anybody in here really feels pressure for anything, because we've been playing well. We've just kind of been giving up some leads and and had some weird things happen to us in the end of games. But we're not. We're going to try to stay within ourselves and just continue to play, and it'll eventually start bouncing our way. We'll start winning those late games and, be able to put together a few streaks.
Hopefully the streak of Matt Moore continuing his winning ways goes forward tonight. How about this? We've got the guys studying up for your Twitter questions that Ask the Announcers. We've got rare coin news. Oh, yeah, look at that. Axel. Beautiful. At Sun Sports Rays, Flash, part of Gun GNR. At Sun Sports Rays, hashtag Ask Rays. We have B.A. and Dwayne answering all your questions, whether it's about rare coins or whatever else you want to know about Guns N' Roses. 3 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting remaining on our first pitch. Rays and Jays, Game 3 of this 4-game series right around the corner. Enjoy all the action on Sun Sports.
Tough start, losing the first 2 games versus the Blue Jays in heartbreaking fashion. Tonight, Tampa Bay sends the stopper to the hill as lefty Matt Moore looks to continue his winning ways. Tonight, the Wednesday night showdown presented by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. John Gibbons in there with his Toronto Blue Jays. Joe Madden with the Rays. Rays trying to find the winning formula. They've dropped the first 2 games of the homestand, 8-7 and 6-4. And tonight they'll be sending the lefty Matt Moore out there. Take a look at the Toronto Blue Jay lineup. Brett Laurie leads it off, followed by the DH Melky Cabrera and then Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion at first in front of the catcher J.P. Arencibia. Rajah Davis is in left, hitting 7th. Mark DeRosa at second base. Mycera Stores, who turned out to be the difference in the game last night, is at short batting eighth, and Emilio Bonifacio is in center field hitting ninth.
Taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays going to be left-hander Matt Moore, making his 7th start of the season. 5-0 record, ERA under 2. The team is 6-0 in his 6 starts. 37 innings, 41 strikeouts, and just a 156 average against. All good for Matt Moore.
Brett Lawrie in the batter's box in the first pitch of this game. A fastball, he takes it low. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. Lawrie hitting 187. Fouled it out of play. He picked up his first hit of the series last night in the 9th inning and rode home on the home run by his Stores. Actually scored on the RBI double by Cabrera. 1-1 here. One ball, 2 strikes. And a ground ball for Escobar. Up and out with his throw to strike into Loney. So Lawrie is out of there. 1 up, 1 down.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Tampa Bay Rays defense as it lines up behind Moore. In the outfield, left to right, Johnson, Jennings, and Fold. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate.
Cabrera, the DH tonight, batting from the right side now. Bouncing in and deflecting off Scott Berry. Cabrera, 1 home run on the year. That came as a right-handed hitter, but his average against lefties is just 167. Is high, so in the dirt with the first one and way up above the strike zone with the second pitch.
My advice would be to just split the difference. Be right where you need to be. Some new shades tonight.
Hooper into center field. That's going to fall in front of Jennings for a base hit.
I'll tell you what, where that pitch was located and the swing and trajectory of the ball, that looked like that was going to be a shot to center field, more than likely a line out. But Cabrera, I guess, catching it off the end of the bat, the very end of the bat. Yeah, that's exactly what he did, and just there was nothing on it. Ball died out in center field. Blue Jays with the base runner.
It's Jose Bautista. Bautista with 7 home runs, hitting .240. And there's a first pitch fastball in for a strike.
Well, as it always does with Matt Moore, fastball command is going to be important against this team because you're going to want to pitch ahead. But I think that the secondary pitches will come into play. We saw that last night with Hernandez and the changeup to go along with the well-located sinker and his attacking nature, and I think Matt Moore can do more of the same, different style from a different arm.
Matt coming into this game had given up only 20 hits in 37 innings, but with 19 walks. Bautista pops it up on the infield towards getting out of that pitcher's mound area, and Loney in to take care of that.
And in those 19 walks, half of them, or actually more than half of them, came in 2 starts. You know, he was able to pitch around the walks in Texas because he only gave up 1 hit in that game.
Yep.
So he was able to dodge some bullets there because he just frankly didn't let him put the ball in play with any authority. It kind of hurt him his last time out against Colorado. He walked 4. That was the other high, 6 against Texas, 4 against Colorado, and that did end up costing him a couple of home run balls, and he gave up 4 earned runs in that game.
He gave up a season's high 7 hits in that start to go with the 4 bases on balls. Edwin Encarnacion, and the pitch to him is a fastball low at around 92. Strike call. Changed up on him there.
With a slide step. Really nice by Matt Moore. It's tough for the runner over at first base with the slide step, and it can be equally as tough on the hitter because he's expecting that leg kick.
That's going to be a little wide. Encarnacion last night had a base hit and walk, but he struck out 3 times, was frustrated in the 9th inning, was ejected from the game for arguing that call and throwing his bat and his helmet. There goes the bat again. One hopping into the stands down the left side, and a foul ball out of play up the first base side. Well, that young man has a souvenir bat, thanks to Dad.
More interested in the peanuts.
Take a look at this. First idea is to protect them, and then come up with the souvenir.
Hey-oh. Hey, I mean, come on.
Ball 3 upstairs. A lot of action already here.
Yeah.
Top of the first.
Gentleman in the front row is extremely lucky. What he was looking for.
Well, I hope they're going to do some trading there and get that bat back. Encarnacion hits a fly ball deep to center. Straight back goes Jennings, and that's gone. Straight away center field. Jennings stayed with it, tried a leaping attempt to gather that one in, but it's out of here. Blue Jays take a 2-0 lead here in the first.
No, Edwin Encarnacion really took a turn in the power numbers last year with 42 home runs. This ball meant to be in. It stays middle of the plate, and he gets a lot of lift. Uppercut swing, solid contact. This ball able to elude Desmond Jennings.
That gives him a share of the American League home run lead with Mark Reynolds of the Indians. He's at 10 home runs now. Aaron Sebia takes a strike. Well, he hit that one with the new bat. They retrieved the bat that went into the stands. He may not even want that one anymore. He'll just let that little guy have that bat. 1-1 the count there, and Sebia. Two and one. It's the 6th home run given up by the Rays lefty. And Sebia hit the big home run here in the game on Monday, up the middle and a base hit into center. So Aaron Sebia is aboard.
Aaron Sebia did a nice job of staying back on that changeup. Really wasn't fooled at all. Stayed very quiet at the plate. And even though the pitch wasn't located where you want it, look at this, not out in front, very little, if anything. He waited back nicely on that changeup and shot it right back up the middle.
Now Rajai Davis up here. 71 average. Davis 385 against lefties and 4 for 10 against Matt Moore. He has more at bats than anybody else against Moore in this lineup for the Blue Jays. go. Trade, and that youngster's going to go home with a bat after all. Liner in the center. One hop in front of Jennings. So that's the 4th hit of the inning.
Well, and that's a pitch I think that's been very good for Matt Moore here through his first 6 starts. It's going to be a big pitch for him. You think so tonight, but so far the curveball has not been sharp. He's left a couple up and out of the zone. This one just kind of rolls in there right into the swing of Davis. He's going to have to tighten up that pitch and get a little bit more out in front, try to create that downs tilt, good drop at the end. Right now the release point just a little bit off, and that pitch is not able to get to the locations that he wants it.
Mark DeRosa. Pitch is low to him. DeRosa for the year with a .220 average. A big pinch hit home run here Monday night. He shoots it back into center. Jennings back near the track, on the track. He's got it to retire the side. 2-run score on the Encarnacion home run. Rays coming in to hit. Edwin Encarnacion in the top of the first, 2-0. Bottom of the inning, the Rays will have Desmond Jennings to lead off again tonight. Jennings will be in center field. Kelly Johnson will hit second. Then Ben Zobrist at second base, hitting third in front of Evan Longoria. James Loney behind Evan. Manel Escobar sixth. Luke Scott the DH. Jose Lobaton will do the catching, and Sam Fold is in there hitting ninth in right field.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays is left-hander Ricky Romero, making his second start of the season. Here are his numbers from the first start against Seattle. He actually had faced the minimum through 3 innings, but in the 4th inning he came undone, gave up a couple of hits, 3 walks, hit a batter. That led to the 3 runs and ended his evening.
First pitch to Jennings, outside, a ball and no strikes. Romero actually got off to a pretty good start last year, and then the roof caved in on him. 2 balls, no strikes, and the Rays last faced him in September and jumped all over him. He did not get out of the 2nd inning of the last start he made against the Rays, and he's way behind 3-0 already here on Desmond.
Hey, he gave up 7 earned runs in 1 inning. Gave up 8 hits. what we're going to see is we have two lefties tonight where their success and or failure is all predicated on command. Matt Moore, when he commands the fastball, absolutely dominant. Ricky Romero has been struggling with that command, and it's led to base runners.
Walk to Jennings to start the Rays half the first. Well, the Rays in that start he made against them up in Toronto on the 2nd of September last year, they got a run in the first when Jennings opened with a base hit. He eventually scored, but the second inning they really went to work and scored 6 and knocked him out of there. You can see the difference over the last year plus now. Over 5 walks on average for 9 innings.
And you know, it's bad enough that you're allowing that many extra base runners, but that also speaks to the lack of command, which means even when you are in the strike zone, probably not in the strike zone where you want it, and those balls are getting hit.
And that was the case when the Rays saw him last September. He made pitches that were strikes, but they were hittable strikes. In fact, they scored 7 runs. They had 8 hits and only 1 walk off him in that short outing he had. But boy, those strikes were hittable strikes.
You know, that's the difference between throwing strikes and command. They're not the same thing. Command sometimes is throwing a ball on purpose. I want to throw a fastball, you know, 4-6 inches off the plate to see if a guy will chase it. If he doesn't, I set up another pitch that I'm going to go to.
And a line drive base hit off the bat of Kelly Johnson. Jennings going to hustle his way to third. The Rays will have men on the corners. On an 0-2 pitch, Kelly Johnson delivers a base hit.
Kelly Johnson continues a nice little streak here over the last 10 games. This curveball, you know, down and away good, down and in not good. See Kelly start that stride a little early, but he kept his hands back. That allowed him to just get into the baseball there and drop it out into right center field. Rays trying to answer what the Blue Jays did in the first.
Walk and a base hit. It's Ben Zobrist up there, and Ben does have a history of success against Romero, including a couple of home runs. Ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Well, Romero, and we mentioned it in the opening comments. He was their opening day pitcher. You can see last year for the Rays, his lines the last 3 times they faced him. He's way behind Zobrist, 3-0. He was 13-9 in 09, 14-9 in 2010, and then won 15 and lost 11 with a 292 in 2011. And then things just fell apart for him last year. An earned run average of pushing 6 at 577.
You know what ends up happening is, you know, you come into that season last year, I'm sure riding sky high with confidence. You had a sub-3 ERA the year before, but then something goes wrong mechanically. You're not able to make the pitches that you want to make. You end up getting hit and hurt for, you know, a period of time. That goes on. Well, then that's going to take a shot at your confidence. You know, your mental well-being is not very good, and then before you know it, you get to the point where you can't remember when you had success. He went, what, 17 starts last year? Or
yeah,
some ridiculous number of starts.
He's lost 14 of his last 15 decisions.
There you go. 14, 17.
And Zobrist checked. The bases are going to be loaded. Well, you can remember we saw him when he was at the top of his game. He's just a completely different look right now.
He doesn't even look right physically.
Yeah.
I mean, not meaning that he's not hurt. He just doesn't look right physically. It doesn't look like he is even the same mechanically. And you see the numbers coming off of that 2011 season. You come into 2012, you're feeling good. You hit a stretch, and that stretch lasts long enough that, like I said, you can't remember having success. And that really
it takes a toll on you. Really takes a toll on you mentally. And now physically, he doesn't look like the same guy that we saw when he was going good.
Evan Longoria in the box. Pitch is too low. Well, Evan now with 3 grand slams, including the one he hit in the 3rd inning here Monday night. And he lines it into left. That's going to fall in front of Davis, a base hit. 1 run will score. The bases are still loaded. Jennings crossing the plate. So Longoria drives in his 20th run of the year. The Rays are on the board with the bases loaded. Still nobody out.
Now, just like a merry-go-round right now, everybody moving station to station. Got a chance to have a really big inning against a guy who's really scuffling with command.
Romero went down to Dunedin right over here and pitched a game for them at the end of April. 7 innings there. But this past spring, he did struggle. Here's Loney. Bouncing one foul. James Loney. Loney up with the bases loaded. He's hitting .500 with men in scoring position, 13 out of 26. And against left-handed pitchers, he's hitting .563. Fouls it away. 0-2. Johnson at third, Zobrist second, Longoria at first. Ball, 2 strikes. That's Sebia moving to keep that ball from skipping by him.
He saved a run. Saved a run. This was 92 miles an hour, not even close. Look at him get that knee out there, the glove, everything he could to keep that in front of him. That's a really nice job and a difficult chance there for Aaron Sebia.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Followed that errant fastball with a breaking ball low and outside.
Right there, that's the story of Ricky Romero's struggles.
Walk to Jennings. He has scored. Johnson singled. Zobrist walked. Longoria singled. Getting the bullpen up. Ground ball. That's going to go through the right side. Johnson scores. Zobrist will stop at third base, and the Rays have their second run home to tie this game as Loney comes through again. James Loney picking up RBI number 16 to tie the game.
I'll tell you what, it's just game after game after game. Now it's become week after week after week. Tough hitter, 2 strikes. Look at him just go down there and try to put the ball in play. And he has done nothing but find holes during this stretch. A great job of his approach and finding holes. He gives himself a chance.
The Rays have come back to tie. Miguel Escobar steps in with the bases loaded. He's out in front, strike 1.
I think that was a case of Ricky Romero knowing Miguel Escobar. First pitch changeup that bounced, and Escobar almost came out of his jersey on the swing.
Well, follows up on it. Same thing, 0-2. Edgar Gonzalez up in the bullpen. Davis makes the catch, and the runner at third will hold. Zobrist tagged and Lufta start down the line. Escobar's out number 1.
Let's take a quick look at the Blue Jay defense as it lines up tonight behind Romero. In the outfield, left to right, Rajai Davis, Emilio Bonifacio, Jose Bautista. Across the infield, third to first, Brett Laurie, Meister Turris, Mark DeRosa, and Edwin Encarnacion. JP Arancibia will be behind the plate.
Interesting matchup here. Luke Scott against Romero. 4 of 9 against lefties since being activated off the DL. But just 1 of 17 against Romero, and that hit is a home run. Zobrist third, Longoria second, and Loney at first. Lefties have always fared better against Romero than right-handed hitters. Plate in, says Scott Berry.
Looks like a pretty good pitch by Romero. In that corner. So often we see when you struggle with command, the borderline pitches do not go your way. That's just the way it is.
You get the umpire in a certain state of mind.
Yeah.
It's tough to get a call strike. Ground ball through the right side, base hit. That scores Zobrist. Longoria will stop. So the Rays, station to station here, have scored 3 runs and take a 3-2 lead. So the bases are still loaded, and John Gibbons has seen enough. That's going to be it. Romero will depart after a third of an inning here tonight, and his troubles continue. So the Toronto Blue Jays make a Metro PCS call to the bullpen. third of an inning for Ricky Romero. 29 pitches. He leaves with the bases loaded. He's allowed 3 on 4 hits and a couple walks. Jose Lobaton will face the new pitcher, Edgar Gonzalez. Well, that was in a way disconcerting. The Rays will take every run they can get where they've been here the last couple days to start this homestand, but that was disconcerting to see Romero. He's not anything resembling the pitcher he was.
Not even close.
So here's Lobaton with him loaded. Swinging through the first pitch. Fastball, strike 1. Gonzalez out of Monterrey, Mexico. Started his pro career in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. Lobaton checks on the pitch upstairs.
You can actually hear him downstairs scrambling to get video of Edgar Gonzalez up for these hitters. I mean, you got to figure as a hitter in a lineup doing all your homework on Ricky Romero that everybody's going to at least see him once, probably a couple of times. And now that he's out of the game, boy, you've got to switch gears and get ready for Gonzalez now.
Down and in. There's Sebia blocking that pitch. Gonzalez logged big league time with the Diamondbacks, with Oakland, a little bit with the Rockies and the Astros. Lobaton fouls it on the play. That evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gonzalez, now 30 years old. And a cut and a miss. He strikes out Lobaton. Got him with a fastball.
You can see Edgar Gonzalez has a little bit of deception in that delivery. Watch the arm angle. Very short arm, and it's like that low 3/4. He rides that fastball up in his zone, gets it over the bat of Lobaton.
Yeah, that makes him appear to be quicker than he is.
That's right.
He's got a little bit of Peralta in him in that regard.
That short arm action. Yeah, the ball looks like it's jumping on these hitters a little bit quicker than the 88 to 91 will tell you.
Sam Fole makes a pitch too high. Sam, the number 9 hitter for the Rays. So they've hit right through the lineup. Scored 3 so far to take a 3-2 lead. Ball 2. Jays claimed Gonzalez on waivers from Houston last month. It's 2-1. Ricky Romero out after a third of an inning. His 2 shortest outings against the Rays prior to that was an inning in that September 2nd game last year. Cole pops it up. Foul ball coming down is Encarnacion, and he makes the catch to retire the Rays. But the Rays come up with 3, a couple of walks and 4 hits. Longoria's base hit scored the first run. James Loney drove in another one with a base hit to right. And Luke Scott found the hole on the right side of the infield for an RBI single. 3-2 Rays. take a 3-2 lead. Luke Scott there, Davey Martinez talking it over. A little scouting report maybe going on.
And a very detailed one, because we were watching that through the thing for a while.
Sturis taking the first pitch for a strike. Luke was really breaking everything down there. Zobrist in front of this ground ball. One away. And here in the second inning, let's check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, some good news, and thankfully for Jay Happ. Well, he met with the media today about 2 hours before the game. He was released from Bayfront Medical Center prior to the game. Hit by that line drive off the bat of Desmond Jennings yesterday. He and Desmond met right before the press conference. Obviously, Desmond was very concerned. Jay Happ has stitches behind the left ear. He has a fracture in the bone behind his ear as well. And he had a tweaked knee from the fall on the mound that he's having checked out by a doctor today. But CT scans show everything okay with the brain, the spine, the neck. And he's expected to have a full recovery. They're being very cautious with him right now. But good news on Jay Happ today. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, and what a relief that is for everyone who sent their thoughts and prayers out for Jay Happ and his family. 1 to Bonifacio, and I know that you happened to run into him on your way into the ballpark and had a chance to informally chat with him a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of chit-chatting on the way in, and he was in good spirits, looked good, sounded good. Considering what happened, considering what we all saw last night, best news possible. I mean, I really think that the situation could not have turned out any better for, again, what happened and how it happened.
So he goes on the disabled list, and Edgar Gonzalez, who just entered this game at the bottom of the first, was called up to take a spot on their pitching staff. But all things considered, what we saw last night, it was a very tense moment there, tense few moments with Jay Happ. Relieved and happy he is where he is now, and apparently recover fully and go on, and not only with his baseball career but with his life in general. 3-2 the count to Emilio Bonifacio. Slices this one into short right. Bold played him shallow anyway, but he still dropped it in front of him. Bonifacio is aboard.
Bonifacio with a little fillet action out there in the right field, dropping that ball in front of Fold. Medium rare.
So here's Brett Lawrie. Runner at first, one out. He had an 0 for 17 going before the base hit in the ninth inning last night. Moore has already, first time through the lineup, allowed 5 hits.
This looks like it's going to be a dogfight. Matt Moore, and you saw it there the last pitch, the hold for a long time and then a slide step. Going to have to mix up your looks on Bonifacio. Very good base stealer.
He is 3 of 3 in that department, and the Blue Jays this year 25 out of 29 running. Here's the thing about the American League East. I mean, you look at the Rays not happy with how they've started. The Blue Jays certainly not happy with the way they've started. But these are two teams better than they played and better than their records show to this point. And again, he keeps an eye on Bonifacio over there.
Well, he had stretched the lead out. I think Matt Moore saw that. The cut of the infield, he was straddling that. The last lead, yes, he got a little bit further out. Pretty aggressive right there.
Little tap toward the mound, scooped by Moore. He'll have to go to first. Bonifacio moves to second, and Laurie is out. More to Loney. 2 gone. And we're talking about the East. The Red Sox obviously have served notice what they intend to do this year. The Orioles continue to battle, and they're going to be right in the middle of it. The Yankees, despite the age and the injuries, have just 5 over 500, but they have kept the doors open. Just 2 games back, and the Rays and Blue Jays are going to be better. So the East is still going to be what we thought it was going to be, I think.
You're right, and they're going to have to be better for those reasons. New York is just kind of idling out there, trying to wait for some reinforcements to come, some pretty good reinforcements to get back into that lineup. Baltimore went on that West Coast road trip. They had 11 games out there and went 7-4. That's not easy to do.
Yep.
As the Rays well know, as we well know, not easy to go back 3 time zones.
Well, a miss by Cabrera and a move up by Bonifacio. That ball skipped away. So it's a wild pitch charge to Moore.
Now, in this situation, all you're worried about if you're Matt Moore is, listen, runner on second, runner at third, whatever. If I get the hitter out, innings over, we start swinging the bats again. That's the only thing that we can worry about and think about now.
That game up in Fenway, Minnesota jumped to a 4-0 lead in that game. It's 5-5 now. Johnny Gomes has hit a grand slam in that game for the Red Sox.
That's the one thing you got to know about them. If they pitch, they're going to be difficult to deal with because they can still swing the bat. Their starting pitching has been really what's put them over the top. They're both a little banged up right now.
Cabrera takes it the other way to right. Sampold is there to catch it. Base hit, the man left. Rays lead 3-2.
To 2, and I have some very sweet video to show you from yesterday's visit at All Children's Hospital. Alex Cobb and Jamie Wright making the rounds, going bedside to bedside, surprising their youngest fans. The kids' faces absolutely priceless as they woke up to 2 of their favorite Rays player. Cobb tweeted, "Thanks to everyone at All Children's Hospital for having us today. Met so many brave kids and parents." The biggest treat, Dwayne, is that it really went both ways. The duo put smiles on the kids' faces, but they also had big smiles on theirs.
Well, Kelly, that's a great report, and V and I were talking earlier. You can really tell. How about Jamie Wright? He's got a house full of kids. He's been around them, and boy, he was just great.
It's funny. It's funny when you watch those videos and you know who has the kids, who's got the experience. Yeah, he was great. But you're right. You take those trips, I'll tell you, much as you do for them, they actually do more for you.
Yeah, they sure do.
They put life in perspective.
Yep.
You say, you know what, you get bent out of shape about this game, and then you go see some young kids fighting for their lives. You say, you know what, rearrange the furniture.
Sure does. Sometimes that furniture upstairs needs to be rearranged. The ground ball off the bat of Jennings. DeRosa takes care of that. That's one away here in the second. Only speaking personally, not for anyone else in that regard, but it really does realign your priorities.
Oh, I'm speaking for other people. There's a lot of people that need to have the furniture readjusted.
And you're just the man to do it.
Moved around a little bit. Well, I'm getting in line. I'm taking a number and getting in line.
Here's Kelly Johnson, takes it the other way toward the line, and that's going to fall. Davis. Now Kelly's going to hustle his way into second. Davis got over there. He kind of backed up on that ball, and by the time he got to it, Johnson decided to challenge him and winds up at second.
Well, this is what Joe Madden wants from his players, aggressiveness, especially on the base paths. And Kelly Johnson was going hard the whole way. The whole way. He is going to challenge him, catches him a little flat-footed.
Well, that's great to see, because you're right out of the batter's box. He was hustling.
Yeah, well, watch Mark DeRosa. Mark DeRosa is an old-school, hard-nosed player. When he snatched that ball, he did it with disgust. Like, how do we let this guy get a double on that? He was not happy at all with what went on with that play.
The Rays with a man in scoring position as a result of Johnson's hustle. Ben Zobrist with a chance to drive in a run. He walked and scored a run in the first. He's got 3 off Romero in the third of an inning. And a base hit the other way. Here comes Johnson in to score. Ben with a big turn, and he's going to decide to hang on with an RBI single, and the Rays lead 4-2.
Well, that changeup there by Gonzalez was telegraphed. Ben had a good look at one that pitched previous. Everything kind of slows up here, and saw he just stayed right back on it, not fooled. Shoots that ball the other way.
Here's Evan Longoria. Double and a single with 1 out. The Rays now lead by 2. We took a look at the breaking ball for ball 1. Two balls and no strikes. Again, a breaking ball, soft and wide. 3-0 the count. Takes a strike. And there is ball 4. So Longoria goes to first. The walk pushes Zobrist up to second. James Loney will get another at bat here with a runner in scoring position. He already drove in a run in the first, giving him 14 hits and 27 at bats with men in scoring position. Bounding ball to first, backhanded, and Encarnacion will go to first now as Gonzalez got over to cover. Zobrist to third and Evan Longoria into second.
Well, Encarnacion, he wanted to go to second base, but Evan Longoria, he just did not have a good angle. He has to come into field, this turns, and just not a good angle to throw. Take the out at first. Good thing Gonzalez was heading over there. We've seen some pitchers shirk that responsibility, and then you're really in trouble.
Well, there's a good spot for Escobar with a couple of men in scoring position. Give him a lift, and the Rays as well if he can drive both of these guys in. For one, fly ball to left his first time. He takes fastball on the first pitch for a strike. Ground ball down to third. Laurie falls down, picks himself up, and makes the throw to first in time to retire the Rays. They settled for one, leave two, and lead 4-2.
He is a deputy director of Visit St. Pete Clearwater. David, National Tourism Week. What are you guys doing? Big things, huh?
You know, first off, our shout out to Jay Happ. We're so happy that he's okay, and all our friends up in Toronto. We're just happy to have everything work out so well. This week is National Tourism Week. Every place in America that does tourism is celebrating this week. And a lot of people don't think of baseball and tourism together, but particularly here in St. Pete Clearwater, home of the Rays, with AL East, we got some good traveling teams. We got Boston, we got the Yankees. So when we go up there, they come down here, that means tourism, and that's what we're doing here tonight.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people here involved wearing your Wear Summer Rock shirts.
We are, and this summer in St. Pete Clearwater is wearsummerrocks.com. We got a calendar, one day, something different each day, from host Rays concerts to all other stuff to do here, paddleboarding, kiteboarding, the Dolly Museum. It's basically a celebration of summertime, and you can't think of summertime without thinking about baseball and the Rays.
And you mentioned Toronto, a big Toronto contingent down here in Dunedin in March, and then they come and watch regular season games as well.
We do. And, and again, going back to baseball, people really don't think of baseball and tourism all the time. Look at spring training here. Look at the Grapefruit League. Look at the number of people who come for the Phillies, who come down from Toronto, and it goes on with the Yankees over in Tampa. It's just a really great driver of tourism. It's great business, and that's what this is tonight, showing the business of tourism and the business of baseball.
All right, your crowd was well behaved behind you, but we'll get them to wave on our way out.
500 of them right there, yeah.
500 guys from Visit St. Pete, Clearwater. David, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Todd. Well, one thing's for sure, we're around the country all over the place.
Yep.
This is one of the greatest places in the country. There's no question about that. So, but
Here?
yes, absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Summer does rock here. Little photo op there.
Look at him.
Yeah. What a friendly guy. Longoria takes care of this ground ball. So Bautista is out of there. One out at the third.
JP, how doing out there?
Oh, now there's the photo op that Todd's been looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Edwin Encarnacion at the plate now. 1 ball, no strikes. You just never get tired of the adventures of Todd Callis.
Never. Some we know about, some that we don't know about.
That's right. Book will be out someday, followed by the movie. Upstairs, 2-1 the count to Edwin Encarnacion. Encarnacion hitting that home run in the first, so he's tied with Mark Reynolds of the Indians for the American League home run lead. To the dirt, skipping to the backstop.
And trying to make that adjustment on the curveball. That spike curveball can be difficult to control from time to time. It's a very tenuous grip.
Yeah, and you can see that breakout of strikes and non-strikes. That's not anywhere close to where he wants to be.
No, right.
Encarnacion. Big cut there, and just a little bit of that.
And that ball ended up short too, but better action on that pitch. Matt Moore really sold it. Encarnacion, almost a preconceived swing there.
Well, he had to count in his favor. Full now. There's Sebia on deck. He had a base hit in the first. Breaking ball there, 3-2, and he fouls it. One out here in the third with the bases empty. We're about to make the 50th pitch of this game. And he loses Encarnacion. Well, he went 3-2 curveball followed by a 3-2 changeup. One on with one out. Join the team with Rays season tickets. Choose from a variety of plans and get the best seats, biggest savings, and exclusive benefits throughout the year. Reserve your seats now by calling 888-FAN-RAYS or visiting RaysBaseball.com. J.P. Aaron Sebia, the catcher. First Next pitch is a strike. And CBM came into the game hitting a little under 200 off lefties. 9 home runs overall. The Twins have reestablished a 4-run lead at Fenway. It's 9-5. Telling you, they got off to that 4-0 start. Saw the Red Sox come back, and now it's a run-scoring spectacle up there at Fenway so far. Sebia takes it inside. Rays and the Blue Jays in the 3rd game of their series. Wrap-up game of the series tomorrow. Padres come in over the weekend. A look at interleague play with the National League San Diego Padres. And there's a long one, but well fouled. And that demonstrates the power of Aaron Sebia. How about this? 11-5 now. They're at the top of the 2nd inning. Wow. That is some game going on. Top of the 2nd. That's right.
I didn't know if I heard you correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Top of the 2nd?
Yeah.
11-5. Seen some defense.
Anything could happen in that game, and
Yeah.
most of it already has.
Looks like a typo.
2 more, really slowing his tempo here. And a fly ball into center. Jennings there. 2 gone.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not like this has been the crispest of ball games. You'd like to see Matt Moore make quick work here. Rajai Davis get out of this inning, and the Rays take some semblance of control of this, because this has been a sloppy game in the early going too.
It has, and Matt has more or less felt his way along, trying to find command.
He's surviving.
Yeah.
Right now he's surviving. He's doing what it takes, to get outs and move along, but working a lot harder than he would like.
Davis takes an opening pitch low. Matt coming in 5-0 and holding right-handed hitters to a 131 average. Two ball, no strike count. He's given up 5 hits, 2 runs. Big cut right there on a fastball, 2-1. So all 5 of the hits he's allowed in this game have come from right-handed hitters. Ground ball, shortstop. Yunel Escobar steps on the bag to retire the side. Bottom of the 3rd coming. 4-2 Rays lead. Bay Rays baseball on Sun Sports, brought to you by Mazda. Visit your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. By the Tampa Bay Times, amazing stories only in the 2013 Pulitzer Prize-winning Tampa Bay Times. And by Toyota. Let's go places. On to the bottom of the third. Luke Scott leads off against the shift. Stewart's the lone man on the left side of the infield. And the pitch is a strike. Singled in a run in the first. The Rays scored 3 in the first and picked up a run in the second inning. The Rays going to take advantage of this fast start, add on some runs. Gonzalez just joining the Blue Jays today. Good at Buffalo. 2 balls and a strike. He's been in 4 games at Buffalo with a .549 earned run average. Two and two. Hit Scott on the foot. The Rays will put the leadoff man aboard. Runner at first with nobody out. We'll check in with Todd Cowles. Todd?
20 notes a Wednesday, which means fans can ask questions of you and BA. And tonight our first question comes from Marcus. He wants to know the difference in David Price from last year to this year. You can send your questions in via Twitter at Sun Sports Rays with the hashtag AskRays, guys.
Well, there might be more than just one difference, but BA, outside of velocity, I would defer to you, but velocity is the big thing to begin with.
Yeah, well, I think that is absolutely number one. You know, last year, David Price, one of the top in Major League Baseball velocity-wise, averaged 95.5 miles an hour per fastball. I mean, this guy had electric. You know, we saw 97 all the time. You know, his last start against the Rockies, he was 90 to 93, and he's been pitching in that 92, 93 range. And I think that when you lose that kind of velocity, he's not down one. You know, he's down a handful of miles an hour, and it's just different. It changes the way that you pitch. You know, pitches that you were able to blow by a guy before, now they're getting hit. So you're having to now really learn how to sequence and move the ball around and get hitters off balance. You're not able to throw through some of your mistakes that David was able to do last year.
Yeah.
And I think last year there were times where, you know, even if he made the wrong pitch or left it in a bad spot, the pitch was so explosive that these hitters didn't have a chance. Where this year, with the lack of velocity on everything, those pitches now are getting hit and they're falling in, and you know, it's frustrating. But this is a wonderful growth moment for David Price. This game has a way, no matter how talented you are, of humbling you from time to time, and you've got a chance now to learn some things, to pick up some things, to pick some people's brains, do some things different. And oh, by the way, if you continue to work through the summer and the stuff comes back, the velocity comes back, you're that much better of a pitcher.
Yeah, and I think you're right about the growth moment. It's been frustrating for him. I know the last time out had to be very frustrating for him, and it is absolutely an opportunity for him. It seems strange to talk about a guy who just won the Cy Young Award, but there's an opportunity for him to take the next big step into becoming an even better pitcher.
Yeah, oh, yes, and that's exactly right.
How strange is that? The guy just won a Cy Young. Fly ball the other way. Davis is there to make the catch. Lobaton is out of there. So tomorrow night, David Price will go to the mound for the Rays. American League Cy Young Award winner, and the Blue Jays will send R.A. Dickey, who last year in the National League was the Cy Young Award winner, and he's had his issues this year.
That's right. He's not having the same kind of year that he had last year. That ERA almost at 5.5, 2-5 record. See two guys trying to turn their season around tomorrow.
Sam pulled up here, 1 on 1 out. Well, look at their numbers last year. Dominating, 20-6, 20-5. Okay, they're the best. They're the Cy Young Award winners, and they're off to a struggling start, both of them this year. So it'll be good to see tomorrow. Line drive into right and charging in to make the catch in right field, Bautista. And the flip back to first. They double up Scott. And the Rays are finished in the third. That ball started to sink, but Bautista got there and made the throw to first. 4-2 Rays after 3. Definition brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Rays have a 4-2 lead through the front 3. Great to have you with us tonight. Game 3 of the 4-game series, the Rays and the Blue Jays. Matt Moore looking for his 6th win of the year. Mark DeRosa will lead off for Toronto. Twins finally out in the second. Minnesota scored 4 in the first, Boston 5 in the first, and the Twins came back with 7 in the second. Boston hitting in the bottom of the second at Fenway. Here, DeRosa takes ball 1. One and one. Sturis next, and then Bonifacio. This alone gives you an idea of what Matt Moore is going through tonight. 3 innings, no strikeouts. He came in with 41 in 37 innings.
And he was almost at 10 per 9. Well, he put himself in some, tough counts, 2-1. You saw that last fastball really yanked it down and in. This one he leaves up and out over the plate. It's one of those starts where he's fighting a little bit mechanically to find the consistent release point and have that repeatable delivery, something that we've seen Matt Moore have really for the majority of his first 6 starts. Here he loses DeRosa. And that's what you don't want to do. You're down here at the bottom of the order. You've got a 2-run lead, and obviously Matt doesn't want to do that, but just trying to figure something out mechanically.
He's given up 5 hits and 2 walks now. 1 hitter into the 4th inning.
This is why when you hear pitching coaches talk, or talent evaluators, when they talk about starting pitching candidates, they talk about a repeatable delivery, because it's got to last for a long time, and you want that consistent release point so you have an idea of where the ball's going to go each and every time you let it go.
Historis bunts halfway to the mound, and the throw to first. Moore gets his man Loney back to take the throw, and DeRosa is bunted into second base. So Historis puts down a sacrifice bunt. That's the line on Matt so far, in the mid-60s in pitch count. And Emilio Bonifacio is the hitter. Strike one.
And that was a sharp curveball by Matt. You know, this looks like it's turning out to be one of those games where you're just going to have to outwork the opposition. Work harder than they do. Show more grit than they do. That's a nice curveball by Matt.
Bonifacio lifts the fly ball toward right center. Sam Bull makes the call. A nice throw toward third, but DeRosa hanging on at second base. So 2 gone. Swing back around to the top of the order. Hey, there they are. And you can send your favorite Rays players to the Big Apple this summer to play in the All-Star game. Simply log on to RaysBaseball.com to fill out your ballot. Vote now and vote often. Or with our 2 friends down there, you could just show up and have a nice snack and go through those ballots one at a time.
You know what? You know what would really throw those 2 off? If they change the style of the ballot.
You don't think they could adjust?
I don't think it would be as easy. I mean, my man's doing it right there with the no look. The no look flip. Look at all day long. You change the style of that ballot, you're going to have to relearn it. A little nourishment. Yeah. Working hard. Love the sombrero. Why the sombrero?
It's style.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I love it.
Yeah, it's style.
It's just interesting. Like, I got it. We go sombrero.
Big Rays fans. And taking care of those ballots one at a time. I can tell you exactly how many at the end of the night. Laurie hits it back into right field. Bold goes to the track for it. Hauls it in. Sam got back there nicely, and just as he hit the track, made the catch. Bottom of the 4th coming. It's 4-2 Rays. Lead 4-2. Saturday Sprint Cup Series racing returns to Fox and goes back under the lights as Daytona 500 champion And points leader Jimmy Johnson looks to defend his title, claim his 4th career victory at the Darlington Raceway. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing begins Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And there's another approach to your all-star voting. Desmond Jennings takes the first pitch here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Desmond walked in the first and scored the initial run of the game for the Rays. Lifts it straight away center. Bonifacio still going back, but he'll have room on the track to step deep and makes the catch. 1 away. Reminder in tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Kelly Johnson up here with a 2-for-2 going. Single and a double and 2 runs scored. Ball, no strikes. One and one. Baltimore leads Kansas City in Baltimore through 5-1. J.J. Hardy has a 2-run run in that game for the Orioles, his 6th. Alex Gordon accounting for the Kansas City run with his 5th home run of the year. Popped up, foul ball back. Aaron Seavey is after it, but he will run out of room. Square the count. Oakland and Cleveland, bottom of the 6th. The Indians are batting, with Oakland leading 3-2 in that game. By the way, Shane Victorino hit a home run in the bottom of the 2nd at Boston. That's now 11-6 Minnesota. Edgar Gonzalez makes the 2-2 pitch. Kelly Johnson lifts it foul out of play. Slicing toward the corner and beyond. A souvenir for that young man. Fouls another one into the stands. Spreading the wealth around here of souvenirs tonight. Hey, and for the birthday boy right there.
How about it?
Count is full. Yeah, Orestes still showing those good hands.
Yeah.
He displayed at first base.
Got his big
the
paws
outfield.
on it.
Yeah. Bats it around. Nice soft toss back into the stands. A great touch.
I liked his comment in the pregame show about his birthday. Like a weather reporter. 51, but feels like 39.
Yeah.
Wind coming out of the northwest.
Just the right humidity all the time. Backhanded sweep there by Encarnacion. He retires Johnson. 2 outs.
As this game has started to settle down a little bit here at 4-2. First of all, it feels like the Rays should have more than 4 runs. The way that they had these Blue Jay pitchers in trouble in the first and the second inning.
Well, that's one thing the Rays would love to do is tack on, because they've had, as we all know, it's well chronicled, a difficult time holding leads. And Zobrist takes the pitch down, and along those lines, they've lost two very difficult games here to open this homestand. But if a play or two is made 2 nights ago, they win that game. And they're in a situation where they were shorthanded, a couple position players, and down in the bullpen as well. And you're going to run into games where that first game of the series was managed by both clubs, like it was the last game of the World Series. And so things sped up in the bullpen last night. Rodney not available. So they're in a position now where they could really use a deep pitch game by their starter and get back to normalcy.
Yeah, because, if for all the leads we talk about the Rays losing, and you go back to the last 2, you remember the Rays had the big lead, obviously, in 7-run lead after the 3rd inning, but then managed just 3 hits the rest of the way. So all the while you have the big lead and the other team, is chipping away. You're also not helping out offensively, going for long stretches, after exploding early and then going for long stretches and not scoring and giving that other team the opportunity. So it's like a two-way street there. The way that, Burley came out and through those 3, after the first 3 innings where he struggled mightily, was very good the next 3. The bullpen, ate that up. And then, how about what the bullpen did last night?
Yeah.
For the Blue Jays. Had to go early because of the injury and just continued to pitch well. This one close here does not get the call. Right there.
Yeah, Zobers waited a beat there just to make sure that Barry was going to call it a ball before he took off for first. So he's at first on the walk. Got a break there on that call. That's Evan Longoria up here.
That's what you don't want to see here. The trouble that they had this pitching staff in early tonight. Do not go to sleep the rest of the game and let Toronto try to get back in this.
Yeah, it's still just a 2-run game.
That's right.
Right now.
That's right.
Breaking pitch wide. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, that Blue Jay bullpen last night was stellar. Hoop and Delabar and Lincoln.
Strike. I think it was Longoria who said, look, this is not the last day of the world that we've just gone through here. And I think that's true. It's tough. These last 2 games for the Rays, not fun and very disappointing. But in the grand scheme of things, they get that bullpen straightened out. And you have to believe that at some point they will. The bullpen is better. They're last in ERA.
Yeah.
The league in bullpen.
Yeah.
Well, that's just not going to be the case.
They all have track records.
Yeah.
There's track records on it. There's proven pitchers. And right now, there's a number of them in a little bit of a funk all at the same time.
There's a drive down the line and left. Is it fair? That ball is fair and gone. Longoria hits his 8th home run, and that's what the Rays are looking for.
Now that's how you keep a team down. Continue to add on, and here with 2 outs, they get a runner aboard on a very close pitch and then a hanger out over the plate. Evan making sure that ball was fair.
Yeah, he's trying to stare at fair there. And fair it was. The Rays now lead 6-2. Deloney is a strike. So Evan with 3 runs batted in tonight, 22 on the year and 8 home runs. One ball, 1 strike. So this with 2 outs, the walk to Zobrist and the long one from Evan. Two balls and a strike. 2-2. Right off his foot, foul. The Rays 3 runs off Romero, and they now have 3 off Gonzalez.
This ball runs in. You see Loney trying to pull those hands in. That actually got him on the lower shin. No protection there.
Slices out of play. Gonzalez trying to cover the innings by the early exit from Romero. Pitched just a third of an inning and was charged with 3 runs. And it's popped up left side. Corey in from third. The Rays are out in the 4th, but they get 2 runs on 1 swing of the bat from Evan Longoria. Through 4, and the Rays lead 6-2. The 2-run home run by Evan Longoria in the bottom of the 4th. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. Joe Madden, the last couple nights after that victory number 600 with the Rays, was a litany of accomplishments right there. AL champs in 08, 3 postseason appearances, 2-time American League Manager of the Year, and he needs a win tonight to get to 600. Cabrera batting right-handed against Matt Moore, and the first pitch is a fastball. That's a strike. That's a pretty good fastball right there. Maybe the best one we've seen from Matt tonight. It has been a little bit of a struggle for him to settle in. 1-1. Cabrera, Bautista, and then Encarnacion. Two and 1. Matt gave up 2 runs in the first inning. Blue Jays have had runners in the other 3 innings as well. They've stranded 5 in the game through 4. And after that first pitch strike, 3 out of the zone, and now he's behind 3-1.
You know, Matt Moore said that he's not thinking about his mechanics right now. He's trying to just stay into a good rhythm, quick tempo. He's trying to get back to that this inning. You could just tell by the way he's attacking these hitters. He gets that 2-run home run by Evan Longoria with 2 strikes, and he's come out, trying to speed things up a little bit.
That's why I thought that first pitch of the inning was impressive. It's okay. It hit 3 out of the zone. Now we're back 3-1, and now it's 3-2.
Trying to find the winning formula, and sometimes you have nights like that where you're going to struggle a little bit, with yourself. You just got to try to fight through it. Do what you can.
Cabrera fouls away that 3-2 pitch. Six, 7-0 for the Rays. 5-0 for the Blue Jays. Battling up there, fouls another one out of play.
I'll tell you, the other thing to take into account is we've been spoiled by Matt Moore and how easy he's made it look here in the first month and some change.
Well, he got off to that slow start last year, and then the way he pitched the rest of the way.
Yeah.
You look at his body of work in the interim, and it's been good. He had a great start this year. 3-2 again. Hot shot. That's a fair ball, just fair. Kicks out of the corner and back to Johnson. Cabrera heads for second and makes it standing up. Cabrera, with an extended at bat, comes up with his 4th double of the year.
Well, he just continued to see fastball after fastball, knowing that Matt Moore's got a 4-run lead to deal with and doesn't want to walk the leadoff man. He gets another one. Nice try by Evan Longoria, just a little bit off the end of his glove and right on the chalk or the paint.
Well, a runner in scoring position for Jose Bautista. Bautista has popped out and grounded out tonight. Came into the game 2 out of 3 lifetime against Matt. Pitch upstairs. Dangerous hitters in the middle part of this order. Bautista, Encarnacion, and Aaron Sebia, big time power. A 2-ball, no strike count. Well, the strike to non-strike ratio still far from where Matt Moore wants to be. 45 strikes, 36 non-strikes. Turn, and Cabrera's back in, no tag by Zobrist. Too high.
How many times have we seen Matt Moore? When that curveball's there, when he goes to that pitch early, he gets that good consistent break. The fastball's going to be there. When the fastball's there, the curveball's there. Well, guess what? The fastball hasn't been there tonight, and the curveball's been very inconsistent too. Changeup usually is always a pretty good pitch for Matt.
And he gets a strike. 3-0.
But those are the two that seem to go hand in hand, the fastball and the curveball. I mean, the release point is a hair off. You just don't know what you're going to get from pitch to pitch. I'll tell you what, though, he's a battler. He finds a way to, even in the midst of those games, hold the opposition down.
And he comes back with a strike there to go 3-2, and he changed speeds.
Yep, that was that good changeup. That's been a pretty consistent pitch for him. Good arm speed on this. Really sold it well, 84 miles an hour. And that gets him right back to full. Now's the time to pick up that first strikeout.
Back to second again, and Cabrera safely back head first. 3-2. Oh, he comes back to get him. Strike 3 call. Boy, he threw a great changeup and then came back with a little breaker and got him 3-2.
Well,
wow.
Down 3-0. And what did he do? He got a fastball in there, fouled that up with a really good changeup, and then came with the curveball. 3-0 count. Jose Bautista saw the entire arsenal to punch out.
If you're Bautista and you've seen what you've seen in that at bat so far,
yeah,
and the way it ended, great change, great curveball, 3-2. You're going, really? The pitch is high to Encarnacion. Look at him. He's got it. What? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That's the international sign, really.
That's it. 1 ball, no strikes. The count to Edwin Encarnacion. This one is down, but it's been that kind of night here for Matt. We saw that great first pitch strike to Cabrera, and then he struggled a little bit. Didn't have great location of Bautista, and then 2 great pitches to put him away. Now he's behind Encarnacion. Here we are at 3-0. Cabrera double to open it. 1 gone. J.P. Arencibia on deck. And a strike.
See if he follows the same routine. Fastball strike for 3-1. I need a changeup and a curveball. And then I'm leaving.
He is battling, though, and you're right about that. You got to give him that. He does. And he loses him with a high fastball. Put him in at first and second with 1 out. Here's a guy who always battles as well. Let's check in with Todd Callens. Todd?
I thought you were shooting Joel Peralta down there. I would have agreed with you on that one. Hey, it's time for our AT&T Twitter poll question of the night, and it is this. About Matt Moore and others, left-handers in the big leagues, who do you think is going to end up with the most wins amongst these lefties in the big leagues? Hashtag TB1 for the Rays, Matt Moore. Hashtag TB2 for John Lester. Hashtag TB3, CC Sabathia. Hashtag TB4, Gio Gonzalez. Hashtag TB5, Clayton Kershaw. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. We'll have the results in our Rays Live postgame show. Peralta is messing with our camera that was just shooting me down there. Anyway, hey, our latest question comes from Jacob. Today is a Website Wednesday Ask the Announcers, and it's this. Do you think Matt Moore someday could be a Cy Young Award winner like his teammate David Price? If you have a question, send it to @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, guys.
I don't think there's a chance in the pit of Hades that he could ever win a Cy Young. I mean, what are you going to say there? Of course he can. He's got the stuff. I mean, look what he's doing this year. 5-0 with a 1.95.
And if you compare their track records, he's probably a little ahead of the game in regard to what Price has done. And you can't argue with what David Price has done. He just won the Cy Young.
Yep.
So sure, he's got a great arm. Arencibia takes a strike.
He's willing to work. He's willing to battle. He's continually learning about himself, about the opposition, the hitters that he's going to face for a long time. He should get nothing but better. And I'll tell you, it's like everything else. The more reps you get, the more games you pitch, the more experience you take in, the more that you're able to, break down information, come up with new game plans, get to know yourself a little bit better.
One thing about it, here's a night when he has been inconsistent. There's no question about that. But he's controlled the game to the point that he can. It hasn't gotten ahead of him.
Yeah. A lot of guys may not be in there right now.
That's right. Into center field. Jennings is there to make the catch. J.P. Arencibia is the second out. Runners holding at first and second.
At the end of the day, what he's doing is he's pitching to win. He's doing what it takes, making the pitches when he needs to. Up to this point, hasn't been easy, but you know what? It's not going to be all the time. Those guys in the other dugout with the bats and the helmets, they get paid a lot of money too. They're pretty good at what they do.
Yeah, they get paid not to make it so easy.
Now, the problem here is for Matt Moore, a lot of his struggles just come from himself, getting himself in sync. Because when he's in sync, these guys overall don't have much of a chance. We've seen that.
Rajai Davis signaled in his first at bat back in the first inning on a curveball. Fastball misses here.
And I don't know where. That was right down the middle, at the knees, maybe even a little above.
1-0 the count.
That's one of the tougher things. You get a call like that when you have been scuffling a little bit with your command, and you immediately have to take that out of your mind and get on to the next pitch.
And Matt, balls behind. 2 balls, no strikes. The Rays 4 of 9 with runners in scoring position tonight. Blue Jays 0 for 6. Skied the other way.
How about this? On the season, you know what runners in scoring position are off Matt Moore? With that 0 for 6 tonight, that makes it a cruel 0 for 27. 0 for 27.
Like that.
That's pitching to win.
Yep.
That is, you know what? There may be some wobbles here and there, but when it comes down to it, guys in scoring position, Matt Moore makes the pitches when he needs to.
Three balls and a strike. Well, he got the baseball and lost the ice cream. He's actually wearing that ice cream now. But that's a pretty good trade-off.
And he's going to grow into that shirt. Have them for years.
Well, Davis walks. The bases are going to be loaded. Man, just 2 pitches short of 100 pitches tonight. So this is going to be a big hitter in this game right here. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the 5th inning, and Mark DeRosa steps in.
Yeah, tough situation here. And that's the other thing that the one thing you don't like to see is the 100 pitches in 5 innings thing. Where the bullpen now, you put the stress on them to have to eat up another 4 innings, 3 and a third, whatever it's going to be.
DeRosa takes ball 1. Started him with a curveball and missed. Pitch number 100 on its way. And a fastball foul back. Challenged him.
Yes, he did.
94 on the fastball.
He came after him. DeRosa matched him with the swing. And it's a draw.
This next pitch, it will be a 30-pitch inning. And that's the other thing that you have to be mindful of. He's made a lot of pitches tonight, and now here in the 5th, a lot of pitches coming within 1 inning.
Make one more good one and get out of this inning. Take a deep breath. That's it. One more.
Two balls, 1 strike, bases loaded, 2 outs. Here it is. And he missed inside. Fastball close. So it's a 3-1 count. It's fouled. 3-1 fastball, and so with a full count going right down to the wire in the 5th. 3 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded. And he got it. Threw him a fastball, got him to go up for it, missed it. So the first 2 strikeouts of the night come here in the 5th, and this is a big one, leaving the bases loaded. 6-2 Rays. Of the 5th inning coming up. Kick off those Sunday shoes and catch Kenny Loggins take the stage after the Rays game during 80s night Saturday, May 11th. The Rays take on the Padres, and then Kenny Loggins performs hits including Footloose, Danger Zone, and I'm All Right. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com. Jamie Wright just got up and starts to throw in the Rays bullpen down the right field line. Yunel Escobar leads off the bottom of the inning and chases this pitch as cut away from him. Strike 1. Escobar, Scott, and Lobaton. You know, going into that 5th inning, Moore did not have a strikeout. There had only been 1 strikeout in the entire game. Gonzalez had a strikeout in relief of Romero. 2 big strikeouts for Moore. And that last one of DeRosa left the bases loaded.
Well, again, not pretty, but effective. And he made the big pitch when he had to, coming back to get DeRosa after falling behind 3-1 with the bases loaded. Those are not fun pitches to make. There's 0 margin for error, and a pretty good idea. The hitter at the plate knows exactly what's coming.
Upstairs. Well, right now, that was a big strikeout of DeRosa to leave the bases loaded, but after the double by Cabrera and then falling behind Batista and coming back to get him, that might be the biggest out he's gotten tonight. Shortstop is Torres. It's the first out. Luke Scott. Luke is 1 for 1. He drove in a run in the first inning with a base hit by a pitch in the 3rd. And the shift is on for Luke. Pitch inside. ball back, and it's 1-1. The Blue Jays getting some innings they needed out of Gonzalez with the early departure of Ricky Romero.
Yeah, he really has come in and done a job.
Now behind in the count. It's 1-2. Fly ball back into right. Batista's there to make the catch. So that's the second out. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Evan Longoria has been on 3 times tonight, including a 2-run home run in the 4th. Gave the Rays a little breathing room. Jose Lobaton bats with the bases empty and 2 outs here in the 5th. And a base hit up the middle for Lobaton on the first pitch. The Rays have a 2-out base runner. And we get Sam Fuld to the plate. I want to take a moment here to remember our good friend Jerry Ramsberger, who passed away Monday at the age of 88. He was for 10 years here the press box attendant, but more than that, a wonderful member of this community as a coach and a teacher and a mentor. He's a wonderful human being, and we will miss him. We send our best to his family and his friends. Family meant so much to him, and really his friends were his extended family, and so we wanted to remember Jerry Ramsberger for the wonderful human being that he was and is in spirit. 2 strikes the count to Sam Fuld as he fouls this one away. Escobar is grounded out. Scott with a fly ball to right. Lobaton with a base hit to center. Sam, a ground ball backhanded by Brett Laurie. Throw to first, and boy, some footwork by Encarnacion to get Fuld over there on a bang play at first. Rays get a base hit, leave a man, and here's the final out. Through 5, Rays up by 4. Encarnacion belted his 10th home run of the year to dead center. That made it 2-0. The Rays came back with 3 in the first. Longoria's base hit scored 1. James Loney single home another one, and Luke Scott with a base hit to right capped that 3-run inning. Rays added another run in the second, and then Evan Longoria lowered the boom right down the left field line for his 8th home run of the year. And that came with Zobrist aboard. And the Rays have built a 6-2 lead. We're through 5 and head into the 6th. And so Matt Moore gives the Rays 5 innings. So the Rays got at least 5 innings in all of their games so far this year from their starters. And Jamie Wright takes over here to face Mycera Stewart. 5 innings for Moore, and now Jamie Wright on for the 16th time.
Boy, he's been good too for Joe Madden coming out of this bullpen. Non-roster invitee.
Tap down to first. That's a foul ball. Making contact with the Stewart. Well, he was in the batter's box. Tim Welke made that call down at first.
Tell you what, I'd like to see.
I want to take another look at that.
Yeah, I don't think that ball hit his foot. Let's see. It's a ground ball to first. It started out in foul territory, but it came right back in. It's a 3 unassisted. The world.
2-1, and
of course it did. Joe just yelled out there. It never hit him.
There was a conversation with Scott Berry there.
Well, you know what? He's got a point. That ball never touched him.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe's had it.
Yeah. It's an out.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious, it was a ground ball to first base.
Well, Joe's been ejected by Scott Berry. And he said that never hit his foot. This will be the second time in this series that Joe has been ejected.
I want to get ejected.
Here comes Welke. He says okay. You're saying okay? Ejection for Joe since he has taken over, and he's after his 600th win here. So let's take another look.
Yeah,
there's no way it wasn't even close.
2 feet, 2.5 feet.
Now watch Asturias though. Watch, he's going to sell it.
I think what he was selling was that ball got in on him. Yeah.
Asturias out on strikes. Take a look at the aftermath of this. See, right there.
Well, I wish I could understand that last sentence because he said, that's right, that is enough.
So Davey Martinez takes over the lineup card again. Joe's got a streak going. The bunt by Bonifacio over the screen. Madden was ejected early last night by Marty Foster. And now ejected in the 6th inning by Scott Berry tonight. Count is 1-1 on Bonifacio. Well, I tell you, all these outs are important. Tough to get 27 outs, as the Rays know, especially in this series. And so they're all important.
Well, and it's ongoing. We've referenced Texas. You had last night. There's been consistent issues, and then you get a ground ball, a simple ball moving in, cut piece, slider, ground ball to first for out number 1, and it's ruled off the foot, and it doesn't come within 2.5 feet of it. And 2 guys miss it.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, that's a nasty pitch there by Jamie Wright. 88-mile-an-hour cutter. That really took off. Well, his last 8 outings, he's given up 2 hits. Struck out, well, now 9 outings, 9 strikeouts, 2 hits, no walks.
And he goes full. The breaking ball, the curveball that stayed wide. Top of the order, Brett Lawrie on deck. Ground ball, right there for it. Zobrist. They get the speedy Bonifacio. Well, let's go back to last night early in the game and Joe Madden's beat, where Sean Rodriguez came in, got the back corner of the plate, that back tip of the plate, and that's when Marty Foster called him out, and that's when Foster kicked out Joe Madden. Just getting a little too much to take here. Lawrie, there's a pop foul. And here's the thing. I mean, these things keep happening. And, the managers, he's got to do that, because if he just accepts that, his team starts to accept that. Well, you can't have that. But Madden's got to make a stand, and that's what he's done the last 2 nights. 1-1 to count.
Well, players like to know that their manager is going to fight for them.
Yep.
You're out there, an advocate on their behalf. And when it's egregious, he's going to go out there and put himself and his job that night on the line. As Joe would say, guys dig that.
Yes, they do. Lawrie missed the fastball. It's 1-2. Well, it turns out that has to be part of the strategy from time to time. Curveball, he takes. 2-2. Well, the way you look at this, things, they say they even out. We talked about the bullpen and the numbers down there. They're better than those numbers indicate, so that's going to get better. The calls on things, as we've seen the last couple nights, you have to believe they have to get better as well.
You would hope.
Bouncer to third. Longoria's throw right there. 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. We go to the bottom half of the inning, and the Rays lead 6-2. Sports is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Checkers. Feast on. Third game of this homestand, third game of the four-game series with the Blue Jays, and the Rays lead 6-2. Davey Martinez now managing with the ejection of Joe Madden. Jamie Wright, a 1-2-3 top half of the sixth. And Edgar Gonzalez with 75 pitches. He had made 4 starts at Buffalo and had averaged just under 5 innings a start. Well, 4 2/3 tonight in relief of Romero. He starts the sixth there against Desmond Jennings. Fouls that fastball right back.
Well,
Strike one.
That's exactly what this team needed after the bullpen was really extended last night. And then all of a sudden, Ricky Romero knocked out of tonight's ball game in the first inning, and Edgar Gonzalez has stepped up in a big way, made this more of a normal type game here for the Blue Jays, although they trail.
To the count to Desmond. Blue Jays do have some action going in their bullpen. Osmeal Rogers, the right-hander. And a base hit to center. Gonzalez dropped down a little bit that time, and Jennings took it right back through the middle.
Not fooled. Desmond Jennings keeping it simple, trying to find the release point and get the bat to the baseball. Gonzalez tried to trick him right here. Come down low. Desmond just sweeps that ball right into center field.
Here's Kelly Johnson. Desmond right back in at first. Well, Kelly 2 for 3 tonight, and with that, his last 10 games over 400.
Yeah, really starting to heat up for Joe Madden in this Rays lineup. You know, sometimes when you come over to a new team, a team that had high expectations coming into the season, you want to get off to such a good start, prove to everybody that you're going to be a meaningful player, and you know, you don't get off to that good start to press a little bit. Kelly had a rough go towards the end of April. Well, he has turned it around in a big way.
He was hitting over 400 with men in scoring position coming into this game, and had it not been for James Loney, who was hitting 500 with men in scoring position, he would have led the team in that department. Johnson ahead of Gonzalez in the count. There goes Jennings, and a high fly ball back into right field. Towering shot back there. Bautista watches it sail out. Home run on a 2-0 pitch for Kelly Johnson. That will make it 8-2 Rays as Kelly Johnson picks up his third hit of the night. Home run number 5 on the year.
Now continues that hot hitting and just gets a mistake. Boy, middle of the plate, slight elevation, and that uppercut. Perfect contact, towering blast.
So the 2-run home run. The Rays have 5 off Gonzalez. And Gibbons goes to the mound. So a call to the bullpen coming. Metro PCS called to the pen. Show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Cy Young Award winners square off at the David Price Bowling event and BA's breakdown. All of that packed into that show. Ismael Rogers, the new pitcher, throws a strike to Ben Zobrist. The Rays have tacked on and lead by 6 now. 17th appearance for Rogers. Pitched an inning in the first game of this series, and Zobrist is hit by the pitch. Rogers hits Zobrist.
High and tight, and just catches jersey. Thank goodness. Boy, that's right in that exposed rib area.
And saying, thank goodness, as he turned away from that pitch as well. Now Evan Longoria. Close. Well, Evan belted a home run tonight since the 15th of April. There you are. Longoria and Encarnacion with 8 in this game. Trouble for the Angels. Aaron Sebia with 6. One. Rays scored 3 in the first. Another run in the second. 2 runs on Evans' home run in the fourth. And they have 2 here in the 6th on Johnson's home run. There's the Longoria home run.
And that puck just floated up to the plate. Longoria so quick with those hands and that bat, just hoping it could stay fair, and it did.
Having a cut fastball in around 94.
He got off to that start of the season where he was able to reach safely. Base hit here, base hit there, but the power was lacking. But once it came, he got that first one out of the way. It's been a landslide. Doubles, home runs, opposite field. Looks really comfortable at the plate.
Bounce it away. Hard stuff again.
Well, this is a completely different look. Ismael Rogers comes in with a little bit more of a fastball than Gonzalez had. So once again, the Rays have to change their focus and now get on to what Rogers is trying to do.
Two and two.
That's what's been most impressive for me about Evan. The fact that he's hitting home runs, driving runs, and all that. The way he's taking pitches is impressive. That's a nasty slider with 2 strikes. Power slider. He got a real good look at it, did a nice job of tracking it, and was able to lay off. That tells you he's seeing the ball well.
Comes back with the slider there, and he gets him this time. 2 pretty good pitches.
Yeah. At some point, this is 88-mile-an-hour slider. Not just a better pitch right there by Rogers.
James Loney. Only 1 for 3 tonight. Ball, no strikes. Bryce Harper's hit his 10th for Washington. And the Nationals lead the Tigers 3-1 at the top of the 6th in the nation's capital. That game had been rain delayed. Two balls, no strikes. Indians beat Oakland 4-3. That's a final. Rogers, the third pitcher of this game. The Blue Jays, and a shot into deep center field. It's going to bounce all the way to the wall. Zobrist will score. Loney into second with a double, and the Rays pick up another run. Boy, Loney unloads a two-base hit here, chasing home Zobrist from first base, and the Rays make it 9-2.
Folks at home can't see it, but I'm giving the international sign for really. I mean, this guy is just, it's remarkable what he's done. He's not been hot for a week. He's been hot for almost a month. I mean, this guy hit it where it's pitched with authority. And then Zobrist hustles in. The Rays continue to tack on. That's great for this team. Fall behind early, jump out, take the lead, and then just continue to add on all game long.
There's Janelle Escobar. Slider to start him. That's a strike. So the Rays now have 11 hits and 9 runs. Escobar looking for his first hit. Down 0-2, another slider. Pretty good ones from Rogers to get ahead of Escobar. 3 runs for the Rays off Romero, 5 off Gonzalez, and now 1 off Rogers. With 11 doubles, 17 runs batted in. Escobar bounds it out of play. In case you're wondering about that Boston game, the Twins are up 14-6. The game's in the bottom of the 5th, and the ballot counting continues.
My goodness.
They're only the best. Out of the Barton Graham School of ballot counting. There's a line drive and a base hit into left. Loney goes to third. He'll stop there. So Escobar has himself a base hit. The Rays with 2 hits here off Rogers.
Well, that's a slider. Didn't slide. That stayed middle in and up. Escobar just jumped all over it. Rays continue to hit mistakes offered by Blue Jay pitching.
Luke Scott. A single. He's been hit by a pitch last time, hit a fly ball to right. Here the Rays are with 9 runs tonight, 12 hits. Mixed in a couple of home runs, another extra base hit or 2 here and there. 1-0 the count to Luke. Rays came into this game with 142 runs. Now you think about the Blue Jays' explosive offense.
Yeah.
The Rays had outscored them by 11 runs this year coming into the game tonight. One.
His troops having a good night. Hitting coach Derek Shelton. Book open and still talking shop with a pitcher.
Fastball up and he swung through it. So it's a ball, 2 strikes to Luke Scott. Fly ball, center field. Bonifacio in line to catch it. Loney tags. He heads to the plate. He'll score. The Rays make it 10-2. Scott drives in another run, his second of the night. This one with the sacrifice fly. Escobar remains at first. The Rays make a nice inning of it here in the 6th inning, opening an 8-run lead. They've scored 4 times. So a 10-run game tonight that matches the Rays' season's high in a single game. It's a strike to Jose Lobaton. Batista waiting for this one. He's got it. So the Rays send 8 men to the plate. They score 4, and as we head into the 7th, the Rays now lead 10-2.
Of the game, but it's a big lead tonight, 10-2 as we head to the 7th inning. We're getting a lot of questions on website Wednesday about who might be able to help from the minor leagues in the bullpen. Terry, Ryan, JRD, Nick, Anthony all want to know. According to skipper Joe Madden, he's happy with the guys that are here.
All the right ingredients are in order. It's been really frustrating and awkward to watch, but I do believe that. I mean that sincerely about our guys. Last year they wall-to-walled it pretty much the whole year. It's pretty much the same group of guys, too, with the addition of Wright. Of course, there's JP's gone, but overall, this is pretty much the same group of guys, and I have that much faith in this group. So moving forward, I know it's frustrating right now for the fans to watch this stuff. It's frustrating in the clubhouse, but it's an accountable group with great stuff, and they're going to be back, and by the end of the season, they're going to be one of the best in the American League.
One of the rare times Joe Madden can watch himself from the clubhouse as he has been ejected from this game. Back to the guys.
Yeah, and I think what he says is right. The bullpen ERA is the highest in the American League right now at 5.19, and it's a point we had touched on earlier, BA. That's just not going to be the case.
No.
You're going to go through periods in a season when you get these stretches, and it doesn't look good, doesn't feel good when you go through them, but this bullpen is going to emerge as one of the top bullpens in the league.
No reason to think that it won't. There's too much talent down there. There's too many guys that have gotten it done in the past. Like Joe said, it's pretty much the same group, and these guys were one of the best, if not the best, last year in the American League. So no reason to think that they will not get back to that form.
Jamie Wright falls behind Cabrera. It's a 3-0 count. Well, that trio right there, a big part of last year, and they're going to be a big part of this year. Ball 4. Oh, that's the difference so far this year, and that's just not going to stay that way.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's early May. A lot of baseball left to be played. A lot of guys getting it back together. See, here's 7, and then you've got 8, and then 9. All of them hanging out. See that? Like a pack.
Strike to Bautista. Straightforward analysis right there. Nice going.
Thank you. It doesn't leave a whole lot for the guys down at the other end because Rays starters go minimum of 5 every single start, so they got to fight over the other couple of outs.
Bautista held up, says Tim Welke.
Yeah, there you go. Caesar, Brandon. Well, he did.
Right. Pitch to 1, 2, 3, 6. Hickey making a call down to the bullpen, and we're going to see just one swing into action. The right misses low. 2-1. The veteran right-hander has been very, very good for the Rays. And he hits Bautista. Hit him with a curveball. Cabrera goes to second. Bautista up to first.
Yeah, that look by Jamie said it all. He's really trying to get on top of this thing, and it just comes out a tad early. Catches Bautista right in the hamstring.
Well, Wright's going to get a visit here. And Paul Harker's out. The Rays, so make sure Jamie's all right. Dave Martinez, who's the acting manager now with the ejection of Joe Madden. Meanwhile, Cesar Ramos continues to loosen in the bullpen. Wright says he's all right. Well, the Heat are winners tonight, so their series with the Bulls even at a game apiece. Heat Live, the post game, will follow our coverage of Rays baseball here, so that's coming up. A 115-78 win for the Heat over the Bulls. Edwin Encarnacion. First pitch is a strike. How about that? Wright had just hit Bautista with a curveball, and he tops the list among pitchers active hitting batters.
18 major league seasons. You're going to pile up some numbers.
This ball skirts away from Lobaton.
That ball was boxed.
The runners advance. It's a pass ball charge to Lobaton, his second of the year. So now both of those men are in scoring position. Right, misses low. So he's having difficulty with the zone here in the 7th after picking up a strikeout and throwing 2 ground balls in the 6th. One, and that's a little tight. 3 balls and a strike. Ramos continues to throw up the right field line. Fly ball into left. That's going to be caught by Johnson. The tag at third. Cabrera scores, holding at second. Bautista with the throw headed toward third. And Encarnacion drives in his 3rd run of the night. It's now a 10-3 ball game. One out with Bautista the runner at second base. J.P. Arencibia about to step into the batter's box. Arencibia had a first inning base hit. Down to short, and a throw to third. The tag is on, and Bautista runs into the out there. Escobar to Longoria.
I think Bautista was just figuring, hey, listen, they're going to take the out at first, trade me moving up a base for an out. You know, Escobar had other thoughts. It's always dangerous when you run on those ground balls that are hit in front of you. This is what happens a lot of the time.
Jay Davis now at the plate. Pitch is in there. Davis singled in the 1st. He walked in the 5th. And it's an 0-2 count. Soft blooper in the center. That's in there for a base hit. An 0-2 curveball, and Davis is aboard. Arencibia advances up to second.
It was not a bad pitch by Wright. That ball's off the plate and down. A soft serve into center field.
DeRosa for 2. He walked in the 4th. Ground ball, that's headed up the middle. Base hit into center. Arencibia is going to be held at third, and now Davis runs him off, and the ball loose as Lobaton tried to come up with that throw and had trouble corralling it. Wright was headed to the plate to cover it, and out of all of that, the Blue Jays still get a run.
Boy, they were giving him an out to get out of that inning, and instead it turns into a mistake by the Rays and a run. Right here, Desmond fires that ball in a little bit high, and it short hops Lobaton, and as it kicks back towards the mound, there's no play that can be made. But right here, it gets held up. But the trail runner was always at third.
Yeah, they were running Arencibia right off the bag.
Yep.
So he scores, and the Rays make a pitching change. Metro PCS called to the bullpen. By the Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. New pitcher for the Rays, the left-hander Cesar Ramos. His first pitch to Myceres Torres misses. A ball and no strikes. The base hit for DeRosa. He's at first, and Davis winds up at third. Goes as a single and a run batted in. No error on that play. It started out to be a base running error, and it turned out the Blue Jays scored a run anyway. 2-0 the count to Historis. One hop short. Escobar, a little backhanded toss to Zobrist. So Historis is out of there. 7th inning stretch time, 10-4 Rays.
A 10-4 lead. You know Madden's got to be happy about this offensive production. Well, stick with us after the final out for the Rays Live post-game show brought to you by Checkers, of course. All of interviews from the clubhouse, including Madden, Dwayne, and BA breakdown Longoria's stellar performance here tonight. And of course, Todd and the birthday boy Orestes will be hosting.
Kelly, thank you very much. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Sam Fold takes a strike, and the count is 1-1 here to Fold. Jennings next, and then Johnson against Rogers. Sam sends it into left. Davis was playing shallow, has to go back on this one, almost to the warning track. It's the first out in the bottom of the 7th. The Angels continue to struggle. They do have a run in the 7th inning here in Houston, and the Astros lead the Angels 3-1. Houston 9-24, and the Angels are 11-21. The Angels matching their worst start in franchise history. That goes back to 1961 and 69, 72, 76, and 90. And they lost last night, so they're 11-21.
Another shocking in this early 2013 season.
Doing 1 the count.
I think too. I think when you look at the American League East, I think the only team in the spot where you thought maybe they would be is Baltimore.
Yeah.
Other than that, the division's flipped from preseason prognostications.
Right.
But again, early May, a lot of baseball to be played, a lot of evening out to do. Well, you don't want to wait too much longer.
Cecil, the left-hander, up in the bullpen. Jennings pops it up. Two up, 2 down in the 7th inning against Rogers after the Rays put up 4 in the 6th. Be sure and treat your wife or mom like the special person she is this Mother's Day by spending the day together at the ballpark. Sunday, May 12th, the Rays take on the Padres, and the first 10,000 women get a Rays flower pot presented by Mosaic. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com.
I'll tell you what, Dwayne, you're a true pro, and you did that great, but that read is just not the same without Callis. Performing some experiment on the pod, fondling the pod. Right.
We have him especially lined up to do that tomorrow. He's stolen some silverware from a nearby restaurant. He'll be banging the butter knife on the side just to demonstrate that it is a real flower pot.
He better not disappoint.
2-0 the count here to Kelly Johnson. Three balls, no strikes. Three-one now. There's ball 4 as Johnson draws a base on balls.
It's an interesting flower.
Yeah, look at that. All those pens and pencils in there.
I mean, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, he's an organizer.
He's
pitching change, and Todd continues to keep track of his pens. We'll be back in a moment. Vince Zobrist leads off against Brett Cecil, new pitcher number 4 for the Blue Jays. Cecil on for the 16th time, and he's throwing harder now. His velocity's up.
When you saw the numbers, 19 strikeouts and just over 16 innings. You know, we were talking to Pat Tabler, the analyst for the Blue Jays, and said that Brett took part into some velocity shoulder training regimen, throwing different weighted balls over an extended period of time, and it has worked.
Ball to center. Bonifacio back to make the catch. Yeah, his velocity's been up 3 or 4 miles per hour. 10-4, Rays lead. The 8th inning we go. Emilio Bonifacio leads off. Coming back around to the right side to face the lefty Cesar Ramos. Bonifacio is 1 of 3 on the night. He singled back in the 2nd. One. 1. Rays up by 6 as we play in the 8th. Jays scored a couple in the 7th inning. A couple men on base. There's 2 runs charged to Jamie Wright. Ramos came on, got the final out of the inning. 1-2 now.
This is a guy out of Joe Madden's pen that has not gotten a whole lot of work lately.
And remember when we saw him last year, how well he threw? That gives you an idea of the potential that he could bring to this pitching staff.
There's no doubt about it. And he's one of those guys that the more work he gets, the better he's going to be. Unfortunately, you've got a pretty stacked bullpen with some, jobs that are kind of locked in right now, as we pointed out in the telestrator. 7, 8, 9 kind of spoken for. So that doesn't leave a whole lot of innings for the other guys, especially when you talk about the staff that the Rays are able to run out there. And more times than not, we know they're at least going 5. Going longer than that, there's not a lot of innings to divide up, so the work becomes sparse. But Cesar Ramos getting regular work, he can get sharp in a hurry, and he's very good.
Right side, foul territory, and Bold down there makes the catch. So that's out number 1 in the 8th inning. Our business with Todd isn't finished. Todd?
Yeah, almost. Let's revisit the AT&T Twitter poll question first, and it's about Matt Moore and other lefties around the league. Who do you think is going to end up with the most wins amongst left-handers? You've got Hashtag TV1 Matt Moore. Hashtag TV2 John Lester, CC Sabathia, Gio Gonzalez, Clayton Kershaw. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. And we'll have the results on our Rays Live post-game show. A lot of fans think these are pens. There's actually my little bouquet there. But the fans are asking you guys, where does a manager go? What does he do when he gets ejected? Back to you.
Now, that's a personal choice. Varies manager to manager.
I think Joe, the last couple of nights, gotten ejected so he could go up and watch us.
He's got his pen and pencil out, taking notes. Yep. We'll be meeting with him later. 1 strike to count now to Brett Lawrie. Pitch is down. Well, you know, managers do a lot of different things. Some of them go back to their offices. Some of them hide in the tunnel.
Some put on fake mustaches and
yep.
stay down at the end. Yeah.
Yep.
All sorts of things. I think Joe's an office kind of a guy. And a roamer.
Yep.
Kind of roams.
This pitch right there. Curveball. A lot off of that one, and Lawrie was out front. 1-2.
Yeah, big break and really slowed this down. Or that is a pretty pitch.
One out, base is empty. Two balls, 2 strikes. How about that? Nice fastball. The range there went from about 68 to over 90. And that at bat, and he strikes out Lawrie with a fastball.
Well located.
Yeah, you give Ramos an opportunity to pitch, he's going to show you something.
He does a nice job of driving that fastball downhill. And that's what really sets up everything for him. We've talked about the fact that when he does face left-handed hitters, he pounds that fastball in on them, just doesn't allow him any comfort. And with the righties, you've got a lot of different options. Right there. I mean, that's just a perfectly located fastball. That pitch cannot be driven. There's not much you can do with it at all. You hope to flare one in maybe to right field or find a hole on the right side, but he can stay in spots like that. He stays out of trouble.
One strike.
Varies the break and the speed on the curveball.
Two balls and a strike.
Just a show curve right there. Take a look at it. And he's another one of those pitchers too that has the, guts. Not afraid to be in tight spots and make big pitches. We've seen that.
Into right field, that'll send Bull back near the track. He makes the catch. 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. Bottom half of the inning coming up. 10-4 Rays. Added the home half of the 8th inning. Saturday, soccer returns to Fox as Manchester City takes on Wigan Athletic. One match for England's most storied trophy. The FA Cup final with Budweiser. Saturday at noon, Eastern, only on Fox.
I got Manchester City.
I knew you'd take that.
Yeah. No, I would never do that. I like Man U and Chelsea. All the good, really good teams.
I know you're big in that department.
Bayern Munich, one of my faves.
You'll be watching that? Have an extra set?
Perhaps.
Okay.
I did get the kids a couple of Chelsea backpacks. They're into the soccer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. 2-0 the count to Longoria. 2-1. Haven't seen you in a soccer backpack yet, though.
No, those days are long gone.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now because I think it'll help with their conditioning, agility, side-to-side movement. You know, they're going to stay there forever.
Yeah.
They're going to move on. But it's a good training ground.
That's a fair ball up the left field line off the bat of Longoria into the corner. Evans on his way to second with a 2-base hit. He's on for the 4th time tonight. That's 3 hits. Single, home run, and a double, and a walk.
Just continues to be productive. Ball out over the plate. Able to keep a couple of these extra base hits fair right on the paint.
James Loney, 2 for 4 tonight. He came into the game hitting .385. And he did not have enough plate appearances to qualify to be listed among the league leaders. Well, he will after this one. Hitting .389 right now. And the pitch is upstairs. Miguel Cabrera hitting .381, leading the league, and with this plate appearance, Loney should have enough to be listed among the league leaders, and in fact he would lead the league. Ground ball headed to short. Go to first in time. He's out 6-3 with Longoria remaining at second. But with that plate appearance, he's now eligible to be listed among the leaders, and right now he's at the top.
Well, and it's
How
no
could he not
surprise.
be?
It's right. It's no surprise. Another guy, you talked about Kelly Johnson getting off to a slow start and turning it on. Well, that's what happened with James Loney, except he turned it on, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, and has just not stopped hitting the ball all over the place. Keeps it very simple.
Loney right now is at .385. Cabrera at .381. Escobar takes that pitch high. Todd Callis was keeping close tabs on that, and in fact that's why he had all those pins. He was doing the calculation in longhand. One ball, no strikes. Brett Cecil, pitcher number 4. The Rays got 3 off Romero in a third of an inning and 5 off Gonzalez. He pitched 4 2/3. Rogers an inning and 2/3, and the Rays put up 2 off him. Three and nothing. Strike. Rays have led throughout this one, except for the 2 the Blue Jays scored in the top of the first. The Rays immediately answered with 3 in the bottom of the first. Full count to Escobar, and the Rays continued to build a lead thereafter, leading 4-2 with a run in the second. 2 more in the fourth. Scored 4 in the sixth inning, and the Blue Jays put up a couple in the seventh. So it's 10-4 right now. Runner at second with 1 out here in the bottom of the eighth. Cecil will come in with another 3-2 pitch. Rays dropping the first 2 games ahead in this one, and they'll have David Price opposing R.A. Dickey tomorrow night. Ground ball headed to the second baseman, DeRosa. To third goes Longoria. Escobar is retired. Now Luke will face the left-hander Brett Cecil. In the first and again in the sixth. Pitch is a strike. Rays with 10 runs in this game. They also had 10 against the White Sox in Chicago on the 27th of April. That's a game Matt Moore pitched, and they won 10-4. They lead 10-4 in this one. One and two. A couple of home runs off the Rays' bats tonight. Give them 39 for the year and 35 in their last 22 games. Scott started to go. That's a check swing. The count goes to 2-2.
Well, what was refreshing is this team, fell behind early, came right back, took the lead in the bottom of the first inning, and just hasn't looked back. To this point, has continued to add on, keep the pressure on. Got another runner at third here with 2 outs. Have scored in double digits. We're talking about answering a couple frustrating losses. This team has done that thus far.
And Scott is out on strikes. That will retire the side. Rays leave a man. We head into the ninth. 10-4 Rays. Of the Tampa Bay Rays and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. We go to the ninth inning. It's 10-4. Rays leading here in game 3 of the series. Cesar Ramos back to the hill. Jose Bautista. Bautista to lead it off. First pitch is a strike. Encarnacion next, and then J.P. Arancibia. One count. He held up the appeal down to Tim Wilkie. Rays after their 15th win of the year tonight. Bautista granted time by Scott Berry. Evens the count. Matt Moore worked the front 5. The Rays got at least 5 innings from their starter again tonight. They've done that in all of their games this year. Inning at 2/3 from Jamie Wright. Ramos delivers and a high fly ball off the slow curve. That's Johnson in left. He makes the grab. That's one away. And Todd working right down to the 9th inning. Todd, what have you got for us?
We're going to find out the count for the guys. They set the pace here, usually for the All-Star ballots. What do we have on the first big night?
We're up to about 15,000 for 3 games.
Seriously? You were in solo the first night, right?
Yeah, first 2 nights. I was here yesterday and Monday.
So you got 15,000 between the two, your first 3 games. Guys, that's quite a pace. 15,000. That's a tough pace for the others to catch up to. But good luck to you guys.
Yes, thank you.
Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, thank you very much. Broken back ground ball to short by Encarnacion. Throw to first. 2 gone. Well, we'll be checking in with him periodically to see how the All-Star balloting goes.
15,000.
How about that?
I don't know how you overcome that. And by the way, it's not like they're going to cash out.
No.
They're in it to win it. They'll be here filling that stuff out night in, night out.
Yep.
Goodness.
Just another night's work. J.P. Arancibia, 2 outs with the bases empty. Ball, no strikes. Right side, that's going to be foul, headed out of play. The Rays and the Blue Jays in the 9th inning of our post-game show. Rays Live and Heat Live post-game follows our coverage. Heat winners to even their series with the Bulls at a game apiece. And that's just off the glove of Escobar into left. Diving attempt by Escobar. And a base hit off Ramos.
Oh, nice attempt here by Yanel Escobar, laying out, trying to end this ball game on a highlight-worthy play. Just cannot get it done.
Rajat Davis up here. Goes after the first pitch, fouls it away. Davis has been on base 3 times. A walk and 2 singles. The Rays been out away from a victory, which would be the 600th of Joe Madden's managing career here with the Rays. Count is a ball and a strike. Joe was ejected from this game in the 6th inning by the plate umpire Scott Berry. Martinez again has handled the reins. Pitch is outside, and with no one paying attention, Aaron Sebia moves up to second on indifference. Two balls and a strike. 2-2. It's a 10-4 final. Ramos catches Davis looking. No runs, a hit, and a man left in the 9th inning. So the Rays have a big offensive night. And a combination of Matt Moore, Jamie Wright, and Cesar Ramos takes care of the pitching. And the Rays win their first game on this homestand. Now 1-2 on the stand and in the season series against the Toronto Blue Jays. So Matt Moore will get the win, his 6th without a loss. And as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. A big night offensively for Kelly Johnson. 3 hits, he had a single. That came in the first, a double in the 2nd inning. Up the left side. And then a 2-run home run in the 6th inning, his 5th home run of the year. He also walked in the 7th, so he goes 3 for 4, scores 3 runs and drives in 2 runs. Todd Callis is standing by with Kelly Johnson right now.
Dwayne, thanks. Kelly, another 3-hit night. You started this series off with a 3-hit night. This team in general, that first inning, just station to station, it seems like you guys are getting runs in bunches. It feels a little contagious right now?
It is. I mean, it's coming together. I think the guys are feeling a little better and a little more confident. I think it's showing.
How about you? We talked about this in Colorado. You seem to really feel pretty good right now at the plate.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm seeing the ball. I'm getting in a good counts and obviously not missing. And you know, when the game's treating you like that, you know, you try to take advantage as much as you can.
You've always been a guy that's hit lefties, and it seems like that's been part of the process lately too. Is that a key when you're going well? Do you usually see the ball well against lefties?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, something that once I got to the big leagues, it helped me keep from trying to do too much maybe, and you know, I think that's kind of a theme for me, is just try not to do too much.
This team, where it is record-wise, is it a bit frustrating knowing that the pieces are there and it just hasn't come together to this point altogether?
Yeah, I mean, it honestly feels like we played better than our record, and you know, sometimes, you know, you look up and look at that record, it doesn't seem right, but you know, it's been a tough first month. April was a tough first month, played a lot of good teams. You know, we kept our head above water, in my opinion. I think that there's a lot of good things to come. I mean, guys are battling, and we haven't seen the best out of everybody yet.
I know we talked to Elliot Johnson and James Shields about this. is a little extra spark when you face your former team?
It is. It always is. You know, you see your old friends and your old boys, and I don't know, you're a little more locked in, a little more focused. So it's always fun to see the guys you used to play with anyway, and you know, you got some energy. You bring a little more energy to those games.
I said final question, but I want to ask you about James Loney. He did qualify in his final plate appearance for the league lead. Right now, he's ahead of Miguel Cabrera, tops in the majors. What's it been like watching the kind of role he's been on lately?
It's been pretty impressive. I mean, the guy's just getting hits, and it's every day. I mean, every day he's showing up and getting 2, 3, 4 hits. And who's Miguel Cabrera?
Nice job, Kelly.
Any good? I don't know.
Thanks. Back to you, Dwayne.
All right, well, Rays are winners tonight by a count of 10-4, and we'll be right back after this.